This is the new 2020 Montero Sport GLS. The GLS variant is currently the cheapest automatic variant of the Montero. It sells for 1.77 million pesos. How does it compare to the competition, like the Fortuner? Let's find out. In case you haven't noticed yet, this is a facelifted model. It now features Mitsubishi's second iteration of the dynamic shield fascia. It looks like a bigger version of the expander. It has huge fog lamps with integrated signal lights on either side of the bumper. And it has squinty LED projector headlamps with daytime running lights. I think the front end of the new Montero looks a bit cleaner compared to the previous model. The front end of the pre-facelift Montero looked a bit too busy for me. There was too much chrome and too many lines going on at the front. On the new Montero, you get simpler horizontal lines. I also like the matte silver finish on the grille. The chin of the new Montero is also more prominent, giving it a more masculine look. From the side, it looks almost the same as the pre-facelift Montero. It gets new 18-inch wheels, but other than that, it's mostly the same. The back end was the most controversial angle of the pre-facelift Montero. On this new model, they have shortened the taillights just a bit. If you didn't like the previous model's taillights, I don't think that you'd love these taillights, but I do think that they're marginally better than the previous ones. This GLS variant has a manual tailgate, but the GT 4x2 variant now comes with a power tailgate, a feature that was missing in the previous model. Okay, so this is the interior of the new Montero GLS. The most significant difference would be the size of the screen. It now has a 10-inch screen. Everything else seems to be the same. You have a leather covered steering wheel. Over here you have controls for your infotainment, your hands-free operation, and your cruise control. Over here you have two USB ports, one HDMI port, and you have a 12-volt outlet over here. Surprisingly, this vehicle has dual zone climate control. This is the cheapest automatic variant that you can buy. It has an automatic parking brake. All the surfaces are plastic except for this, which is very nicely padded. It's leather. This is also leather, and this is velour, like this is some sort of velour like material. The seats are fabric. Two cup holders over here, padded armrest. Overall space is pretty good. I have decent headroom, decent legroom. You have paddle shifters. Steering wheel feels pretty stiff. It's not very softly padded, but it's leather, or at least synthetic leather. I have about this much headroom. Over here you have a power plug and two USB ports. have aircon vents over here. Aircon controls. This only controls the fan speed. Mechanically, the post-facelift Montero is almost the same as the pre-facelift. It is still powered by the same engine. It's a 2.4 liter diesel engine that produces 176 horsepower and 430 Newton meters of torque. That's less power than the Nissan Terra VE and all variants of the Trailblazer, but more power than the Fortuner 2.8 and the MUX 3.0. The engine is coupled to an 8-speed transmission. I haven't driven the facelifted GLS model yet, but I've driven both the pre-facelift GLS and GT models, and they're mechanically identical. They have the same engine, same transmission, and same suspension. The pre-facelift models had a pretty nicely tuned suspension. It offered better ride quality than the Fortuner, but it wasn't so soft that it was swallowy in tight corners. It had just the right amount of stiffness. Compared to the Fortuner G, the Montero GLS has the advantage when it comes to features. It has cruise control, it has a bigger infotainment screen, it has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, it has a power outlet at the back, and it has dual zone climate control. The Montero GT has a lot more new features compared to the GLS, but I'll discuss those features in a separate review of the GT. It's worth noting though that the Fortuner hasn't been updated since 2016, so one could argue that this comparison is not fair. The Montero Sport was a pretty solid SUV to begin with, even before the current facelift. It offered more features and better ride quality than the Fortuner. While the changes to the new Montero GLS are relatively few, they are significant enough. Currently, there is no 4-wheel drive variant for the new Montero. It'll probably come out later this year or early next year. If you're looking for a mid-range 4x2 PPV, the new Montero GLS is not a bad choice at all.